So, thank you all for coming. This is really cool. There's a lot of people here. Thank you very much. What we'll do this afternoon is we'll just have our brief dedication ceremony, and then after this is done, we can all sort of get up, have some coffee, have some snacks. You know, while any of this go to waste, Kim worked really hard baking this all day, so we don't want to get the back of boxes. And then we have our regular LAPC meeting with a representative from the Red Cross is here. We'll start at about 2:15. So again, thanks all for coming. Lots of some people to recognize: the Town of Julian Susos here, Town Manager Doug Brown from the Board of Selectmen. Sue Moran, yeah. Sue Moran from the Board of Selectmen, friends and family, everybody that came, thank you. So I really didn't have anything. I wrote some notes. I don't really have anything like a big earth-shattering speech, but one of the first LAPC meetings I did when I came upstairs as fire chief, this light bulb went off in my head when we were talking about emergency operations centers and so forth. And between Kim and I talking and this light bulb in my head, I thought, well, we should really dedicate this room to Paul. So we went to the Board of Selectmen. Thank you to the board, to Doug, and the folks that did it. They have to wait a year, which we did. We did our diligence. Really, the backstory to this is, and it's kind of similar to what I said in front of the Board of Selectmen, that Paul never really met a piece of technology that he didn't love. He's the first guy I ever knew that actually was on the internet. First person ever, before the internet was even really a thing. He was the first guy I ever knew. And he loved technology. But he also knew the power of face-to-face communication. And he was really good at communicating face-to-face. Sometimes he was really good at communicating face-to-face. Those of us that know, so you could have a face-to-face communication with Chief Brodeur, and there was some serious communicating going on. So when the decision was made to renovate this building, and he was sort of the lead guy in that, and he was already thinking about making sure that the technology that he knew was emerging was going to be right for the future. He made sure that not so much this room, but all of this building, he made sure that all the background work was done, that all the wire was laid, that there was electricity everywhere, that there was phone connectivity, that there was video connectivity, and he made sure all that was being done in the background. For when this building came to fruition, we would be able to be in a room like this for many purposes, but primarily as an emergency operations center. And then lo and behold, the thing happened on September 11th, where it became evident that the world had changed, and that what was necessary for public safety agencies to all be able to get together in one place, face to face, and be able to communicate and mitigate things like that, large-scale incidents that happen like that. And here we were in Falmouth on September 12th. We were ready to go. All the background work was done. It's moving that day forward. It's been plug and play for us. We've done some technology upgrades here in those last few years to the stuff on the outside, but the groundwork that he had built into this room has really been unchanged. Everything was done thinking way in advance, set the town up in a position where when this is open as Emergency Operations Center, which is everything from Armageddon to a significant snowstorm, it's scalable. We can have a few members of the fire department staff in here as a call center, take heat off the dispatch, centers. For a lot of calls about when is my road going to get plowed, and there's an arcing wire and so forth. To everything to if it's a hurricane or a large-scale weather event, well, we can have all the stakeholders, police, fire, DPW, schools, law enforcement people from federal law enforcement agencies can all be face-to-face, set up, looking at each other in the same room, and that's the best way to communicate it. All of this was done. Everything that is done here was done with his vision. So we just kind of, Kim and I started thinking, like, we really need to get something done to get this dedicated to Paul. So the reason that we're here today is so that we can dedicate this plaque and dedicate this room, so that not just this generation, but the next generation and the next generation, and the next generation that's after that, that's in this room for whatever reason, can look up on the wall and know why it is that they're here. So, Jay, with that being said, you want to come help me with this? So here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. plaques going up on the wall in here. These plaques are going on the doors, so that everybody that comes into this room for any purpose knows exactly who it was that was the person behind this for another, you know, for generations and generations to come. So we miss him. We're honored to be here today, and we thank you and thank your families and everybody that came out. Feel free now. Let's have some coffee, have some water, have some, you know, tell some Paul stories, and we'll kick off the regular other part of the meeting in about 15 minutes or so. So, thank you. Do you have anything you want to say? Get that done. So, that lost our agenda. Ed Blanchard from the Red Cross. It's all yours. You don't have any. You don't have any. Media?
In the interest of time, I'll mail it out to them.
Okay, perfect. All about the interest of time.
I intend to. Yeah, I do.
All right, I'm gonna keep panning left to right. So, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edward Blanchard, and I'm the Disaster Program Manager for the American Red Cross. We're based out of Hyannis. And thanks for having me here today. I just wanted to give you a very high level of what services we provide here on the Cape. So if you're in a situation, you're thinking, hey, who should I call? I'll give you some tools for your toolbox. The big thing that we respond to every day in the Commonwealth is house fires. So if someone has a house fire or is forced out of their house due to a disaster-related cause, the Red Cross will provide financial assistance for the first couple of days. We provide casework, so we'll make referrals with our partner agencies. We'll provide disaster mental health. So there are house fires where pets are lost, where loved ones are lost, or something that's significant, like maybe the remains of your spouse or your parents. So we have volunteer clinicians that would actually reach out and speak with those clients. We have disaster health service volunteers that would also reach out. So if somebody has durable medical equipment that they lost in the house, CPAP, home oxygen, a wheelchair, that's something that they can actually give money towards and work with vendors to get replaced. Something that we don't think of when there's a fire, smoke, carcinogens actually penetrate the plastic of our pill bottles. So we have to dispose of them. So how do we do that? Most insurance companies will give you a vacation refill, 7 days, 7 to 14 days, to get you there. But what happens if you refilled it yesterday? There's going to be some money towards that, especially meds that I get for my kids are anywhere between $69 to $110. So we'll actually give you money to help replace those meds. Let's say it's flooding in your basement. Do anybody have a basement on the Cape that's ever flooded? So we have cleanup kits that are used. It's disposable, but you go in and you actually clean your basement, or if you're a single floor home, you can clean your single floor and you throw it away. The contents of the bucket, if you go to Home Depot, is like $100. So what we're trying to do is save the homeowner or the tenant money, so that way you're not going to Home Depot to spend $100, you're using that $100 for something else. So we call those cleanup kits. And then the last thing, and some people scratch their heads that we give this, because usually we're giving you money to go to a hotel, is a comfort kit. So in the comfort kit is toiletries, shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, shaving cream, razor. Well, why do we give that if the hotels have that? Well, not everybody goes to a hotel. Some folks may go to a relative's house. Okay? Some folks may go to a shelter. And by shelter, I'm not talking about the shelters we opened because of a disaster, right? So we make sure that they get that. And then the great piece that we do, for that is with the kids. So we have kits for the children, Mickey Mouse, so we partner with Disney, so they actually get a mini Mickey Mouse. They get a coloring book, and it's a coloring book that helps them cope after a disaster. So it walks through coping skills. Because it's very traumatic, right? Kids need routines. They're broken out of their routine. There could be, if it's on season on Cape, you could be staying in Bourne because there's no rooms available here. So it's going to get them out of their routine. So those services are free, 100%. And those are all volunteers. I am the only paid full-time person on the Cape for disaster services. We have 364 volunteers throughout my area that respond, every day within the Commonwealth for these types of disasters. So if you're at a fire, whether you're there for the fire department, police department, EMS, emergency management, and you're like, I wonder if this qualifies for Red Cross, just call us. Because we're going to send a team out and they'll let you know if it qualifies or not. And if we can't give financial assistance, we can at least give referrals. So we work with United Ways, we work with Salvation Army, we work with Southern Baptist, we work with Save the Children, and many other different agencies that we can refer people even if we can't give financial assistance. And again, it's 100% free. So if we're giving something out due to a disaster, we'll never charge, right? Because that's one thing that sometimes you'll hear from World War II is, my grandfather would tell me stories that the Red Cross would charge money for donuts, during the war. Little history lesson, the War Department made us charge because they wanted the military using their money. So the Red Cross didn't make anybody spend their money, that came from the War Department. I am not in service to the armed forces, so that is the extent of my knowledge, but it comes up a lot that, hey, Red Cross charged money for donuts during a war, and that's the history. And Google is a friend to many, so feel free to Google that story, it's up there. So we talked about the response piece, again, happens every day in the Commonwealth. Well, how do we prepare for disasters? Well, we have this program called the Home Fire Campaign, where our volunteers go into homes, go over fire safety. So we have a fire safety checklist, like do not plug a refrigerator into a power strip into your wall, right? That's a bad thing to do. We talk about space heaters, making sure that there's enough space between the space heater and the blinds or curtains. We talk about 2 ways out, 2 escape routes. And what do you do if you only have 1 escape route? We talk about working smoke alarms. If your smoke alarms do not work, we're going to give you up to 3 free smoke detectors. Now, we're not electricians. We don't deal with code enforcement. That's not us. What we're doing is we're bringing the house up to NFPA recommendations. So a lot of homes on the Cape don't have smoke alarms in their bedrooms. Well, NFPA 2 years ago said, hey, you should have working smoke detectors in your bedroom. So we'll go ahead and we'll put a free smoke detector in that bedroom, 10-year lithium-ion battery, never have to change the battery, you just throw away the detector after 10 years. We also give out carbon monoxide detectors. So you should have a carbon monoxide detector on every level. We'll go ahead and we'll give you 1 free carbon monoxide detector. Again, we're not bringing your house up to code, we're making sure that if you have a fire that night, that you hear it and you get out safely. Now we can do that, with partner agencies. We can do that solely 100%. There are multiple fire departments on the Cape that we do it with, Chief, and throughout the country. So we're fortunate here in Massachusetts that the state fire marshal said to us, hey, if you're going to do smoke alarms, you've got to do CO alarms. So we're one of the only states in the country that actually go in and do carbon monoxide detectors, and that's based off of the state fire marshal, which I think is amazing because that's really important. We also go into schools. We've gone into 3 schools in Falmouth to teach our pillowcase project. So grades 3 through 5, we go and we teach kids coping skills for disasters. We also teach them how to make a disaster preparedness kit. So they get a really cool pillowcase that they get to color in the class. We go over an education piece to it. They take the pillowcase home and then they fill it with the items on the pillowcase. So a flashlight, a stuffed animal. It's really cute. This came out of Hurricane Katrina because all these kids were running around and they didn't have the coping skills. They're in this shelter with 2,000, 3,000 people in it and nobody knew what to do. So this program came out of that. I've been deployed to Texas, to Saipan, and I've actually seen kids with these pillowcases. It's amazing. Again, these are volunteers that go in, retired teachers, retired mental health professionals that go in and teach this program. And we've been fortunate that we've done 3 schools here in Falmouth and a variety of other schools on the Cape. So that's great. So those are our preparedness pieces. And then for recovery, as you may or may not know, we'll follow a disaster case for up to 2 months. So we're going to stay with that client. Our volunteers will stay with that client for up to 2 months to make sure that they're on their road to recovery. Because if you give somebody, a couple of $100 that lost their house, well, that's gone in a day. What do we do? So our volunteers will actually check in multiple times a week until they have said to the volunteers that I'm all set. I don't need any more services. And again, we don't answer, we don't check the box on everything. We'll try to make the referrals. What we give is a very small piece of the recovery process, but we're able to network with other agencies to get them the help they need. All right, so I have a couple of, I have a brochure and I have a bookmark. Nick's gonna pass that out. But is there any questions?
I got one comment.
Please.
You talk about the donut story, but is it not true? And I think a lot of people think that the Red Cross is either state or federal, which it is not.
Yeah, thank you. So we do receive funds, okay, for services provided from state, federal agencies, local agencies, but we are an NGO, non-government organization. The reason we're not, well, one of the many reasons why we're involved in so many things is because we are a non-government organization. So in between the training this morning that Andy did through the county, in this meeting I had to step outside to take a call regarding Puerto Rico evacuees. So there are clients that are in Puerto Rico that are evacuating to the States, okay? So we're looking at 300 Puerto Rico evacuees that we're aware of in Massachusetts, and they're calling for services. They're calling the Red Cross. They're calling other agencies saying, hey, I lost my house in Puerto Rico. What can I do here in Massachusetts? So there are folks that would not call if we were a government agency. So it is important to highlight that. So thanks for the question. Work, Steve. Any other questions? Any issues or concerns? So I guess I'll touch upon sheltering real quick, Chief, and then, yeah.
What's the local number? Is it on here?
So those are the recruiting numbers.
Okay.
So that's if you want to be a volunteer.
Oh, okay.
And my phone's in my jacket. Depending on why you're calling us, there'll be a different number. So if you're calling for disaster assistance, it goes to our answering service. If you're calling the office just, hey, is there a CPR class? That's a different number.
Okay.
So I can get those. Awesome. So I just wanted to touch upon our relationship with other county agencies with sheltering. So I've been in the Falmouth shelter. It's amazing. I wish all of our shelters that I go into are set up that way, especially with the storage container outside and then that gorgeous storage room right at that entrance, right? I mean, it's amazing. So today we talked about the relationship between volunteer agencies and what that looks like. And what I just want to highlight for this group is, regardless of what hat a volunteer is wearing, they're there for a purpose. They're there because they want to help. They're there because there's a situation that they want to try to help mitigate. So if you ever run into a Red Cross volunteer that you think is not doing what they're supposed to, take them aside and say, hey, like, we're all here to help. And if they don't have a good response for you, please call me, because that's not what we do, right? We train. We have volunteers that will come to the office 1 hour a week, 10 hours a week, 40 hours a week, and they're there because they want to help fellow citizens, whether it's on the Cape or the Commonwealth or even deploy nationally. So if you have a bad experience with us, give me a call. If it's disaster services, if it's blood, I'll give you a number for them. All right. But if it's humanitarian disaster services, give me a call, because we're a support agency. We're here to support other agencies. We're here to support Falmouth. And if we don't have your trust, we can't do that. So we want to make sure that that's built. All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chief.
My father was a Navy veteran in the Korean War. He told me that story all the time.
Oh,
so I'm glad you said that, because I've been walking by.
It follows me, Chief.
Giving
I'm
money
telling
to
you.
the Salvation Army for years based on that falsehood. So I'm glad we got that cleared up. So, anybody else got anything? Sir?
Simple update. Obviously, Christmas parade went great. Appreciate the brochure and get it out there. And we actually participated in the shelter director training today. Kind of a research, so we appreciate that. Hopefully, ready to go, and hopefully not needing to.
Henry, anything? You got anything else? That's it? Anybody? Okay. Short and sweet, early in, early out. Thanks for your